He's the Admiral. He's the Spurs Hall of Famer who got to see all the carnage last night. By the way, how did you get the nickname Admiral? I know you were in the Naval Academy, but what was your highest rank in the Naval Academy?
It wasn't Admiral, I'll tell you that much.
Okay.
Hey, then you got to take it easy on Fritzy, man. He's doing an adequate job today.
Yeah, an adequate job. Wow, that's quite an endorsement there, David.
You know what? With the nickname thing, I'll tell you what. It's. I have such a high level of respect for those guys who are put in the time and are able to become an admiral. You got to keep a perfect record, and obviously your accomplishments will be significant. And so I love the nickname. It was very uncomfortable for me at first. They started. I think Brent Musburger was the first one who started calling me admiral back in '86 in the NCAA tournament, and it just caught on. I got back to school and people were calling me that, and I tried to dodge it at first, but now I embrace it. I love the nickname.
Did you hear from any admirals?
All the time. And they're always very gracious, and they say, well, you deserve it, but, there's no way. I mean, those guys are amazing, and I just I take it as a great honor and always try to represent Navy in a positive way. When
you go to the academies, though, do you go with the mindset or have to go with the mindset of you could be or expect to go to war?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it happens that first day you go in and you take your oath of office. I swear to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and to bear true faith and allegiance to the same. From the moment you take that oath, you realize, hey, all these people have gone before us and laid this great foundation for this nation. They've laid their lives down, and that's what our job is, if necessary, to lay our lives down. And so I think military people take pride in that. I mean, that's if you can, greater love hath no man than he that laid his life down for a friend. And I think that's as a military member, that's just how you see the world.
But you also have to go in saying, I can't get involved in the politics of war. Because if you question it, I mean, that's a really tough dilemma. If you don't agree with what we're fighting for or what the war is about, how do you? Yeah,
it's a fine line. You're right. That's the forever question with the military. When do you draw a line? If you get to a place where you're doing something you think is wrong, then when do you disobey an order? And that is a tough one. But I think from you're right. Obedience is key. I mean, if you don't have guys who will do what they're told to do in the military, then people are going to get hurt. And so you're right. That's just a tough question. I think as a military member, you follow your superiors, and fortunately enough, I think they do a great job of really weeding out, people who are not great leaders. Most of the time you're serving for really great leaders.
We're talking to the Admiral, David Robinson. Not really an admiral, by the way, but he is a real Hall of Famer. I could see Popovich. I mean, there's a military style to him. How would he be as a leader if he was in the military?
He's a perfect example of a general. He's always thinking strategically. He comes up with things you don't expect. Got a great sense for the bigger picture. And I think from an NBA standpoint, he knows his personnel as well as anyone. I mean, even the guys coming off the bench, they do a great job of really send guys back to the D leagues and then bring them back, knowing what their potential is going to be, and they're able to develop them. But he's got a great sense of his personnel. He'd be a great general.
One thing that he mentioned, and I brought this up too, that you have a lot of guys on the Spurs who are foreign-born, so they weren't coddled when they were growing up. Ginobili and Parker, Tim Duncan. You had guys who weren't drafted who were contributing. He almost likes to have you have a chip on your shoulder to say, nobody wanted you or you're not that good. Come on in, and you get that more collective group there, that feel that you have with that. And he also said the foreign-born players are willing to work harder. What did you make of those comments?
Wow. I don't know if I would necessarily agree that the foreign-born players work harder. I think that the foreign-born players a lot of times are more interested in team and in winning and in doing whatever it takes. Especially now we have some of these young guys coming into the league and they want to establish themselves and show what they can do. This is not about showing what you can do. It's about making your team better. And I think that does tend to be a problem with a lot of American players. We have a hard time putting together as a team, and I think that's what Pop likes. Those guys come in here and they say, "Hey, coach, what can I do for you?" And you see the guys that come in here have a little bit of an attitude are the guys who struggle with the Spurs.
If you're LeBron James, after what's happened, understanding he's going to get criticized no matter what he does, but Game 4. What would you do? What would the approach be if you're LeBron James?
Wow. Can I give him advice after the series is over? I'll just say this, but he has played so well for so long, and he really has played at an amazing level this year. I heard him saying I need to do more. I just don't know that he can do a whole lot more than what he has been doing. I think it comes down to, what team is playing the best together, who's moving the ball well, who's defending. Both teams have the potential to be really high-level defensive teams, and I think the Spurs just have a bunch of guys coming off that bench who are seasoned after last year's loss. They took it hard, and those guys, you could see how Kawhi Leonard has been so much more focused this year, how Danny Green has been much more focused this year. I think these guys are just steely-eyed right now. I think they're ready to go and take this thing. But I think it's not so much a little bit about LeBron. He's got to be the leader, and he has been for so long. But it's a team thing. They've got to play well together. They've got to make the game easier for each other. And you can't have a game like last night, obviously.
Do you think the Heat, aside from LeBron, overrated?
Do I think they're overrated?
Yeah.
No, they're the defending champions. I think they haven't been playing as well as maybe some people hope that they would be at this time. They went on that 20-something game winning streak, but I think that, this is and that shows an amazing level of concentration. But yeah, I think that they're beatable. I just don't think they're unbeatable. I wouldn't say overrated. You just can't say that about a defending champion.
We've had a couple of guys on recently who made news by picking their starting five, including Karl Malone, who left Michael Jordan out of his all-time starting five. Okay, I'm going to ask you, David, your all-time starting five, if you want to be in the lineup, I'm fine with that. Who's your all-time starting five?
Oh, wow. All right. I would start with Michael, yeah. I think the thing is with personalities, Michael is one of those guys who just dominates the room, period. And maybe, I don't know, I can't make excuse for Karl, but I don't know. He's played with Michael, so I give him the credit for his own decision. But I'd start with Michael. That guy is just amazing and ridiculous.
Okay, who else?
I like John Stockton. He's just always one of my favorite players.
But Stockton over Magic at point guard.
Well, yeah, obviously Magic's phenomenal, but with my style and just I love his personality. I love him as a teammate. That's who I'd want to play with.
Okay, so Stockton and Jordan are your backcourt.
Yeah, and I think at three-man, let's see. It's hard to go against a guy like and I guess I'm kind of bent more towards the recent years, but I go with somebody like Rick Barry or somebody along that line. He was just a stud and good size. I think for four men, obviously I'd go Tim Duncan. I think great, one of the greatest defensive power forwards ever, and just greatest all around power forward ever.
Okay, but that's a home pick. What if I say Duncan?
No, that is not a home pick. That is
okay. All right.
That is an intelligent pick right there.
Okay, who's your center then?
You know what? I would have to go with Kareem. it's, I love Bill Russell. I love his, the way he played as a team, a teammate, and just a great personality, a winning attitude. But Kareem was just so, in my mind, he's just the most dominant guy ever. He would be the guy.
All right. Before I let you go, it's a yes or no answer. Does this series go back to Miami?
Ooh. I'm gonna have to say no. But then again, I'm not in the business of predicting.
David, it was a yes or no. That's all. Shot clock is on.
But you can't because there's questions, right? Is Tony healthy?
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Okay. There you go. How can I predict if he's not going to be? We might be able to.
Okay. Okay. Here you go. Here you go, David. Let's say Tony is healthy and will play at Tony Parker level the rest of the series. Does the series go back to Miami?
No, absolutely not.
All
no.
Right, there you go.
If that's the case, I would say absolutely not.
Always great to talk to you. Thank you, Admiral.
All right, thanks, Dave.
All right, David Robinson, Spurs Hall of Famer, said Fritzy did a decent job.